Do you think you could just go on and never once have to look back?
What do you say, Mr. MBA?
Missing Children, a classical music thriller, and Wall Street in the 80s are the subjects of the latest TV shows hitting our screens this month. For a look at what's hot on the little screen, I'm joined in the studio by Diptyque Laurent. Hello, Diptyque.
Hi, Eve.
Thanks for being here. Now, let's start with the third season of True Detective.
That's right, the highly anticipated third season of the true crime drama True Detective is out on HBO. And the verdict in general is, thank God, it's good again. This season actually coming 4 years after the last season, which was generally considered, you know, a bit of a flop, at least among critics. This season seems to be heeding its lessons. We're back to these southern Gothic landscapes, these brooding scenes shot in hazy, muted overtones, and this sense of foreboding enhanced by this Twin Peaks-like music. And also in this season, they're just focusing on two leads. You have Mahershala Ali, who's the Oscar winner, and Stephen Dorff. They're playing two detectives investigating the disappearance of two children in the southern U.S. state of Arkansas. I gotta say, Mahershala Ali is magnetic in this role. He plays Wayne Hayes, a Vietnam War vet, a bit of a tortured loner who's haunted for 30 years by this case of the missing kids. And you know, it could have been a TV trope, the whole tortured Vietnam War vet, but he manages to really dive into the personality of this character, and it makes it a really riveting performance. Let's take a listen to Mahershala Ali, who's speaking with France's HBO distributor, OCS.
We talked about what was going on with all the characters coming into the story, like the pages before the actual pages we see. So what is their story leading into that moment?
Maybe whoever they're playing with, they never wanted the boy. It was all about the girl.
Somebody bought those dolls. Do you know who?
One man, he had a dead eye.
That's strange. Body position being the same.
There's an aspect when I catch him.
You got hit on the bike. Freddie Burns?
Woodard! You was warding off them kids!
Everything pointed to a girl being dead. We were wrong. Let's find out why.
And also just their political perspectives, like their how they see the world. Wayne is somewhat conservative, as a lot of police officers are. They naturally skew a little bit more conservative because they just see so many things that are like wild and crazy.
It looks great. Is it worth watching?
For sure. I definitely think so, Eve. I mean, the characters are so ambiguous. Also, they do a really good job of portraying how a community is torn apart when children go missing. And I think they do a really good job of really portraying this season through three different time periods. You have 1980 when the kids go missing, 1990 when Ali's character is interviewed by police over new evidence, and then 2015 when he's much older and he's being interviewed for a documentary suffering from memory problems. So we see how his version of events change. On the flip side, though, probably for that reason, it is a bit slow. It is also a bit drawn out. You'll need a bit of patience with this one.
OK, that's True Detective, the third series. OK, here in France, a new soap opera thriller set in the competitive world of classical music is just out. Philharmonia is on the public broadcaster France 2, or France 2. It sounds intriguing.
It is intriguing. This show starts with the sudden death of the orchestra conductor at the Paris Philharmonic Orchestra. The conservatorium decides to bring in this brilliant but enigmatic Hélène Barizet, who's returning to Paris after 20 years in New York. You know, she comes, and as you can imagine, she shakes things up. She's a woman in a rare position of power. Her style is unorthodox. She gets, I guess, it also earns her a lot of enemies within the orchestra, but also a lot of admirers. Let's take a listen to Marie-Sophie Ferdin. She's the actress who plays Hélène Barizet.
My character heads up an orchestra where she's made to feel unwelcome.
Les chefs passent, l'orchestre reste.
She comes into this conflicted environment and can feel the tension around her appointment. On top of that, she has a strong personality that won't help the situation. She shakes up the order to put forward her music. I think it's a great thing for someone to have this vision and to defend it, even if it means being alone.
Also, Eve, for a little bit of tidbit information, Marie-Sophie Ferdan, she herself graduated from the Conservatorium of Grenoble in playing the violin, so she brings authenticity to the role.
Oh, right. And you were pleasantly surprised by this?
I wasn't sure what to expect. What I really love about this show is that it's a character drama. You know, her personality, Hélène Barizet, her character, there's a lot of intrigue. She's brilliant, no doubt, but she's unstable, she's unpredictable, she's prone to these sudden outbursts of anger. Also, look out for Largo Winch actor Tomer Sisley. He plays her ex-lover who comes back to Paris. The setting, of course, is magnificent, filmed at the Paris Philharmonic Orchestra Hall. A great mix of music, too. You have Vivaldi and Mozart, and then the orchestra suddenly sounds out the theme song to Mission Impossible or Boys Don't Cry. And also, to be honest, I love myself a good soap opera, and this has all the elements of a soap opera. You've got the backstabbing, the betrayal, and the seduction.
Sounds great. Okay, next to Showtime's newest show, Black Monday. It takes us back to Wall Street in the 80s.
That's right, precisely October 19th, 1987. That's the day of the worst single-day stock market crash in Wall Street history. And the show starts with these apocalyptic scenes of the day of that crash, and then a body that suddenly falls onto a red stretch limo, and then it rewinds back to a year before that. Don Cheadle, he's Maurice Monroe. He's this coke-snorting, trash-talking maverick who's leading this ragtag team of traders. The other lead is Andrew Rannells, who you might remember from the TV show Girls. He plays this very waspy, you know, straight-laced college graduate. The two contrasts are fantastic. They really play off each other. I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say the two come from very different backgrounds, but they're more connected than you might imagine. Let's take a look at a bit of that trailer.
Where the love go? 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go.
I am Black Moses, and I'm gonna put the brother in Lehman Brothers.
Get the though. I don't bluff, bro. Go. I come out the scuffle without a scuffle. I got a duffel full of hundreds. Aiming at your head. I'm a cutthroat. It's a shit show.
It definitely looks exciting. What are your thoughts on the early part of the season?
To be honest, mixed feelings on this one, Eve. I mean, the setting is great. It's very true to the 80s. The hair, the cars, the outfits, all of that's great. One of the more standout characters for me is Regina Hall's Dawn Darcy. She's a female trader, and you really show how back then you really had to be, quote-unquote, one of the guys to succeed. My problem with the show, though, is that I don't know what it's trying to be. Is it a drama? Is it a comedy? Is it a satire? It's not really clear. Also, the jokes are really vulgar at times. They're quite off-putting, and to be honest, it's hard to watch this in the lens of a post-Me Too movement era. You know, that era is just not appealing anymore. These Wall Street types are really coming across as sad, ignorant fools more than anything else. But maybe that is also the point of the show.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, you're going to take us through your picks for the new shows coming out later this month. There's a lot of excitement around the Umbrella Academy, Netflix adaptation of a superhero comic book.
Yeah, that one actually written by Gerard Way, who was, i.e. the former frontman of My Chemical Romance turned comic book author. The Umbrella Academy also set in the late 80s around the Hargreaves family, a group of estranged superheroes who reunite after the mysterious death of their adoptive father. Pretty interesting cast. You've got Mary J. Blige and the Oscar-nominated actress Ellen Page. Definitely part of what seems to be a growing trend on TV of comic book adaptations for the small screen.
And an oldie is getting a modern upgrade. Eddie Murphy's hit 1992 romantic comedy Boomerang is hitting the small screen this month.
Yeah, that's right. The workplace rom-com is getting a modern millennial overhaul and finds its home on BET, a channel dedicated to African-American TV shows. Boomerang follows actually the offspring of Eddie Murphy, Halle Berry, and Robin Gibbons' characters, navigating their personal relationships and professional lives, also in advertising. Halle Berry is actually an executive producer on this show, and this show is a brainchild of Lena Waithe, who you might know from at least her writing from the Netflix show Master of None. So there's a huge star power behind this show. Definitely one I'm looking forward for.
And finally, season 3 of Netflix, One Day at a Time, comes out in February. I know you're a big fan of this, aren't you? And it's got lots of other fans who are very loyal to it.
That's right. It's a really great, at least I think it's a really great show. It's a modern, fresh take on a Norman Lear show from the 1970s of the same name about a single mom who's raising her 2 kids. This time, though, we're following a Cuban-American single mom. Her name is Penelope Alvarez. She's also a war veteran who's raising her 2 kids. What I love about the show, it is over the top. It's cheesy sometimes, it's super sentimental, but it's unpretentious, you know? It's never pertaining to be anything other than a family-friendly sitcom, and that's what's great. At the same time, it manages to incorporate all these hard-hitting issues like cultural identity, alcoholism, sexual orientation, PTSD, racism, dating, unemployment, and so forth. It does all of this without ever being too preachy, Eve. And I gotta say, the casting is fantastic. Justina Machado, she's the one who plays Penelope Alvarez. For me, one of the most talented actresses on TV right now. You might know her from Jane the Virgin. The legendary Rita Moreno, she plays her flamboyant mother. Keep an eye out also for Cuban-American singer Gloria Estefan, who makes a guest appearance. Can't wait for that one. You know, there's so many female leads. It's such a show about diversity. It definitely needs to be on TV. I'm just hoping it's going to be a good season.
Okay, well, that was One Day at a Time coming out in February. And you can judge for yourself. We're going to leave you with the first peek of season 3. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Since Sid identifies as non-binary, I want to call them by a term that's more acceptable and inclusive.
Oh, you know what I always thought was so cute? Better half.
I don't want to call Sid half a person. What if I tell people you're my better whole?
You're not saying that. I cannot believe you were smoking pot.
I wasn't smoking, I was vaping.
Well, in that case, all good.
Really?
No!
Look, at some point, you're gonna have to start trusting Alex.
Tons of successful people have smoked weed. Barack Obama, Steve Jobs, Oprah.
Unemployed, dead, and Gail just said that to get ratings.